What we have here is a Carpuride radio. This one actually mounts in the car. They have a couple that like stick on the dash or the window. This one here is a 9-inch touchscreen. It's Bluetooth, it does FM radio, USB, it has aux, it has a mic, voice controls. It does say it has high power output. It supports Apple Siri, the Android voice control, real-time navigation. And the screen actually will rotate up, down, left, and right, and it is removable. It also has a rear view camera. So we're gonna take this out and see what we're working with, and then we're gonna put it in my personal car, see how it is from there. I do like the packaging, and at least with these, the interface actually does have pictures, which pictures are the best thing in the world. So we have the rear view camera hookups, the little mounting screws, and these are usually tabs to help get it out from here when it locks in. The connection, which I do have extra connections for my car because it's special and we got the ones to work with the steering wheel controls and everything. But it is nice that it comes with a tool though. So this would be like to pop off all the panels around your dash and everything. Having specialty tools is something that's not normal. So it's nice that they actually provide that. And then we have the actual unit. Okay. So this is what's going in. So this is the dual DIN, right? And then here we have the mounting point for it, and that's where it, ooh, it's nice and firm. Bumps aren't gonna disturb this thing. And then it looks like, is that the release? Nope, I'll look at the pictures on the instructions. It looks nice. I know with these, even though it's large, they actually don't weigh much because all the new technology, there isn't a lot of stuff that actually goes in here anymore. This just takes up the space where it needs to go. It does look like it has a large distance here, but if we turn this a little bit, it does have the mic, the USB control in the auxiliary spot, the SD card slot, all right there. And they actually thought about it, or it seems, because you can get your hands back there. Where if this was much closer, you'd have to take it off every time you wanted to do anything back here, but this won't interfere with the, if you have like a USB plugged in there, it's not gonna be bent from the screen being twisted towards the driver's side. So I like that. All right, next we're gonna pull my car in, take everything apart that I gotta take apart, put this in, see how it plays. Well, this is my humble car. It's a 2006 Mazda Miata, and I'm gonna get to taking the factory radio out, and then I'll show you all the extra stuff I had to get to put it in this car. But some cars with dual DINs, you don't really have to get anything extra, but I had to get something because my factory radio takes up all of that. So I'm gonna start taking this apart. We'll get to the radio. I'll show you the install of the new radio and go from there. Now that everything's out of the car, or the old stuff is out, I'm gonna start wiring or putting in the connections to mount the new radio. So this is what comes with the kit, and they have everything here, you know, listed or labeled for you, however you wanna put it. And so that's awesome. Now, I got one for my car. I'm not sure what this is, but I know the instructions will tell us, so we'll look at that. This is the extra wiring stuff that I got to work with my car. So this one plugs directly into my factory plug, which is nice. Then I don't have to damage any of my stock wires, and these just kind of mate together. This is so that my steering wheel controls work. Because if you look here, there's a bunch of slots for wires that this kit doesn't have. That's where these wires come in. So essentially, this little thing, probably along with this, are going to plug into the back of the radio, and it's going to act as a remote control of the radio. And the extra little wires down here will plug into the car so that up, down, change station, those kind of buttons all work. So I'm gonna get the instructions for this. We have the instructions for this. I'm gonna put all the wiring together, and then we're gonna build the little bezel that I have to put in for the radio before we plug everything up and put it back in. Now I'm going to build the new bezel, because like I said, we can't use this one. So we have this. We're gonna take the AC stuff over and then put in the new radio. So this, of course, is all for my vehicle. Whatever vehicle you have might need different stuff or might not need anything extra. All depends on brand and year and all that. I'm going to show you, but I did find out that the little button that we thought back here is the disconnect. It's just not as easy when it's not hooked up to a car. So that's how it comes off. And you have the screen separate, so if you feel like taking it off, you can. I did get it mounted in. Essentially, so far, there's two things that I've found with this that I'm not quite happy with. One was that the wiring diagrams, one of the wiring diagrams was not as detailed as I would have hoped. I did figure it out. The other thing is the screw holes on the side of this unit aren't tapped. I actually went and got a tap to do it, but it's however you install it. So other than those two things, so far it's been not bad at all. I'm just trying to get this thing mounted center in here. That way I can tighten these screw holes, or the side screws, the mount screws. But it is nice and tight. So now that I got it all together, we're gonna go throw it in there. And I mean, sure, I had to tap them, but it really wasn't that bad. And it was probably more for my preference. You probably could have just forced it in and it threaded, but yeah, I mean, it looks nice. And then the screen will just click in. And like I said, this is a better view of the USB, the mic, the aux cable, and then your SD card that you can click in there. Let's go put it in. Here's the wiring that I did, okay? So these are the regular ones that connect there. And then that little black box that I was going to use, I actually didn't end up using. The actual unit comes with everything you need to hook up to my steering wheel things, which sucks for me, I bought it, but whatever. This is where the wiring was iffy, was actually the steering wheel control thing. So there's a ground, it says it's a ground for the steering wheel controls, which what that means is it's actually the signal coming from the steering wheel controls. It's not a ground, it's the signal, right? The other one is switch 1 and switch 2. And switch 1 and switch 2, I'm not sure the difference on them, but switch 1 didn't work. Switch 2 did work, and what those are is signal power. So that is the power coming from the unit to the switches in the steering wheel. And then when the switches go through the steering wheel, they have a certain resistance that comes back through the ground or the actual sensor signal back to the computer, and that's, or to the, you know, the computer inside this thing, and that's how it differs what switch you're pushing. But it didn't say any of that. That And also in the instructions, it said that there was 2 red wires and 4 black wires. There's 2 black wires and 3 yellow wires. And so I also had to figure out which orientation the connector was, because it was just a rectangle with 6 circles, and that was what it was, but it doesn't show, you know, up, down, left, right, or however, what face you're looking at this. So it took a little bit for me to figure out, and to figure that out with everything. Goes into All right, so we get to see how this looks in the car. I'm interested because it's a 9-inch screen. So I know the normal is 7. Okay. And then it says, you know, it tilts and stuff like that. So it's a decent amount of tilt. Not bad. My climate control works, it's a plus. All right, so we have the screen. Since plugging it in, it took me 11 minutes apparently to get everything back together, so there's that. Settings, car, and this is for the steering wheel controls, which it might have remembered because I did mess with these. That's how I made sure everything worked. So we'll go back to home and then, yep, up volume. Mute, mode, no signal for that. So this did come with a reverse camera. I'm not installing it. I'm sure it would look good. I'm sure it would have a great image quality. And everything looks really good. It's got audio controls. Ooh, loud. There we go. That's all I need is loud. And then, yeah, this is the little thing for, you know, it has a thing for a front camera, AV in, which I think the AV in is actually the reverse camera. This is where you would select your card, USB, Bluetooth, so on and so forth, hooking up the phone, and then Apple CarPlay and all the other stuff on here. I'm actually going to drive this home tonight, get everything set up, and then I'll let you guys know how it was for me driving home and driving to work again tomorrow. It's the next day, and I drove home with it and drove back with it. I like it. It sounds good. When turning off the car, turning back on the car, I have noticed that it defaults to 11 for the volume. Might be a Apple CarPlay kind of thing, because I want to say when I only had it running off of Bluetooth before, it stayed at whatever volume I set it at. And then, at least for like running around with the apps while driving, I know I didn't hook up the park thing or the e-brake wire, so I can play with everything. It does work really well. It flows really well. The only thing that I know we did was, where is it? So go here, car home, is this? Yes, so this is their home thing, right? We were talking about this, the equalizer stuff. So essentially we played out, they have a bunch of pre-settings. Oh, I got a text message from my wife. Car home. So I ended up on classic, but you can just cycle through and it's got preset stuff and see what you like. I ended up with, where is it? Yeah, the classic one. I did click the loud button, and my stock speakers can't handle the loud button, so we're not keeping that on. As for everything else, like, it works fine. When I hooked up my phone, it corrected the time. Everything, like, you know, the camera, obviously that's not hooked up or anything, but going back to CarPlay, it has a few things. You can just, you know, my radar. Oh, can I zoom in? Or is that this one? Nope, not that one. Ooh, there's zoom. All right. Done. Center on me. Zoom in. And so you can, you know, it's just one of my apps. And I'm guessing you can browse the interwebs while doing it too. But I just like leaving it on the destination or navigation. As in total, I like this unit. The steering wheel controls work great. You know, I got that mode. I don't know if that'll actually do something on Apple CarPlay, but I know the mode button does work when you're in the home screen, and at least with the Apple CarPlay, I don't have a mic hooked up, but you know, it read me my wife's text one time, and it asked me if I wanted to reply. I said no, I just said no, and I wanted to see what happened, and it heard me, so I guess it went through the phone. I'm not sure how it'll do with Androids, I don't know if they do that, but at least with the Apple, it just picks up the phone mic. It doesn't need an actual mic hooked up to the radio. I'd say this is a good buy. Sure, it was a little hard to put in, but honestly, I've never seen an aftermarket radio that has, you know, extra controls and all that stuff that you don't have to kind of fiddle with a little bit. So if you're gonna do it yourself, it's worth it. You'll get it taken care of, but I don't think this is a bad buy. This is definitely a good radio. I think I'm gonna enjoy it as we continue on with the time with it. Also, this car has aftermarket suspension. I drove over railroad tracks and everything with it. This didn't move. I was kind of worried with how it was going to be because you can, you know, pivot it. It never moved my entire way to and from work, which is over train tracks that I have to slow down in my SUV to go over. So they're not smooth. I mean, time will tell, but we're not gonna do like, oh, it's a 2-year update and you guys are gonna be interested. So as far as right now, it's very solid, and I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with it moving around for a really long time. Good radio.